This is my experience as a profitability optimization consultant a lot of the time, where the person asking me the question, they can describe the pain that they're feeling, but their question is often leading or making assumptions about what they think the solution should be. And so I find that people tend to be focused on one of three things
Mm.
when they're experiencing profitability problems. They're focused on finance, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that logically makes sense, right? Profitability is a money problem. Finance takes care of the money. And so
Sure.
finance should be one of the areas that is, the solution to this problem. And unfortunately, that's like pretty much almost never the case. Accounting can only take you so far. It's inheritively going to be looking backwards. And most accountants, their job is not to tell you about how profitable you are. Their job is to reduce your taxable income as much as possible and not really help you get insight into running the business unless you are explicitly asking for that and paying a significantly higher fee to them to help you with that, because that scope of work is much larger. So a lot of people are spending a lot of time and energy trying to dial in finances to close these gaps, not really realizing that that is not going to get them all the way to the solution. The second place that they tend to be focused is on the operations side. So they're really, really focused on time tracking and project management and processes and tools. And those are all part of the puzzle. But often when we're cropping in to just look at that in isolation, we can spend a lot of time in the weeds and we're not seeing the forest from the trees. And so a lot of work and energy can go into changing tools, trying to implement better processes, changing the way that we work in those areas, but it doesn't ladder up to better insights and better profitability at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then the third place that people tend to focus in isolation is on sales and pricing. Those two kind of key components of the work that's coming in. And of course, sales is important. You got to sell enough work to keep your team busy, and pricing is important. You got to charge enough money to set yourself up for success. But what I found is a lot of people, they just immediately jump to pricing is my problem, right? I'm not profitable because I'm not pricing high enough. And a lot of times that's not really the case. Maybe they're pricing appropriately, but they're over servicing, or their utilization isn't quite that good, or, they have unbalanced spending across sales and marketing. So the real insight here is that all three of those are pieces of the puzzle. And I think that's why agency owners tend to intuitively gravitate towards those things. But the insight is all three of them are a piece of the puzzle, and not any one of those individually is going to fully close this gap. And this is why I find so many people have this experience of spending a lot of time, energy, and often money investing in those three areas individually. And they feel like they have a lot of the pieces, but they're just not quite coming together. And those insights just aren't quite clear, and the teams aren't quite aligned, and they just can't seem to connect the dots. And that is really the place that we have spent so much time at Parakeeto, focused on trying to really articulate a framework for connecting the dots between those different areas so that we can really feel like we have control and mastery and alignment around profitability across the organization.